Hey, this is Nina. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Today I'd like to do something a bit different and give you a behind the scenes look at the music that I made for Philosopher Tube's latest episode about experts. I'll put a link to that in the description. You should totally check it out. As these things usually start, Ollie gave me some reference tracks and some pointers as to what's needed, and we also wanted to incorporate that infamous Michael Gove speech about experts. Remember that?
The people who are backing the main campaign.
We'll come back to Michael Gove later. Anyway, that speech always felt really dystopian to me, so I thought I'd start with something that pays homage to Vangelis' Blade Runner soundtrack. For one of the themes, Vangelis used a Yamaha CS80, which is a synth from the 1970s. This was used for those lovely string sounds and those long slidey notes. I often like starting with the timbres and playing chords and melodies and seeing where that takes me, so here's my attempt at recreating that CS80 sound. This is an analog polysynth. It's a Korg Minilog XD. The curious thing about this one is when you first turn it on, it actually has a sound, which is remarkably like the Vangelis sound. In fact, it's called Replicant XD, which kind of says it all really. But we're not going to use that. Start off with the sawtooth wave and introduce the second sawtooth, and I'm going to detune that a little bit so it's sort of phasing in and out with itself. The next thing we want to do is we want to give it a bit of a tail. We want to introduce a little bit of vibrato, so let's just set that up there. The filter's going to remove some frequencies for us. Use the filter envelope here. Don't want to play too much of the actual theme because I'll probably get a copyright strike. Let's add a chorus. It's quite nice. And finally, although I didn't record it this way in the actual track, I'm going to just add some reverb on just for effect. After finishing up the theme for the first section, I thought it needed something a bit more upbeat to carry it through the track. The second part actually ended up becoming sort of the main part. Strange how that happens. This took it from a dystopia through to more of an apocalyptic rave. I made the arpeggio with the Bass Station 2. This is an analog monosynth. It's got a really nice growly filter. I used a couple of sawtooth waves and I'm overdriving that through the filter. A little bit of resonance and some distortion, and yeah, it sounds really nasty, which is great. It's also playing a different rhythm, which is quite nice because the loop points sort of evolve over time. It's got this lovely sound. Hours of fun. I used my modular to make some noise sounds used in a few transitionary elements. This is currently patched up for a live gig, but luckily one of the sounds patched on there is a really nice noise sound that uses the Wasp filter. And finally, I used the Peak, which is a hybrid synth, so it uses some digital bits and some analog bits. I used this in the bridge to create the pluck sound, as well as the sort of growly, more textury pad sounds that you can hear. I wanted the speech to be quite lo-fi, so I thought I'd go authentic and crack out my handy 4-track tape recorder.
Part of the analog brewing process.
I got this earlier in the year with the intention of modding it for speed control and stuff, but I can't bring myself to start drilling holes in it because it's like such, I mean, look at it, it's perfect. Luckily, there are some non-destructive ways of going about this for the machine anyway. Non-destructive to the machine at least ways of going about it.
Destroyed!
Okay, destroyed. The tape on the other hand, well, I did a bit of tape scratching and it did not fare quite as well. So I recorded the sound in a bit louder than perhaps I ought to, so it distorts the tape a little bit. And once it's recorded, you can start having a bit of fun with it. So you can wobble the tape around a bit, just move it around.
That you, Boris and Nigel
Adds
are
a
wrong.
bit of
Why should the public
wobbliness to it, but you can also half press the play button.
I'm asking the British public to take control.
So you can get some sort of scratching effects like that. You can half press the pause.
Most of
The leaders of the trade unions in Britain
And it'll
all say
speed up.
that you,
Boris and Nigel are wrong.
So you
Why
can
should the
wobble it that
public
way.
Trust you over them.
I'm not asking the public to trust me, I'm asking the public to trust themselves.
So you can sort of mangle it up like that. But the real fun comes when you start destroying the tape. I've cut it in a specific place so that it avoids the actual motor, the capstan motor. So we can hit play and it's not going to do anything with the actual tape because we're going to actually have to pull it by hand. But you can hear already.
The leaders of the of our destiny from those organisations which are distant.
You say that you, Boris and Nigel are wrong. Why should the public trust you?
The people who are backing the Remain
Campaign are people.
Obviously it ruins the tape.
I'm asking the British public to take back control.
Absolutely.
I think the people in this country have had enough.
So I recorded several takes of this into Ableton Live so that I could choose the best bits. I rhythmically edited them together. I time stretched a few bits a bit more and added in the sort of 90s ridiculous time stretch to bridge the first section with the second. And yeah, it was a lot of fun just mangling up and distorting this ridiculous speech. As well as the analog synth and tape recordings, I used some piano and orchestral samples throughout. I recorded and mixed everything in Ableton Live and created a few variations that could be used under dialogue. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look behind the scenes. I'll put links to Ollie's video as well as to where you can hear the track in the description below. Take care and thanks so much for watching.